Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in mortgages and real estate for over 34 years. My team and I believe in custom-tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is a right mortgage for you, and we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Ian Arnold, part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've 15 years background in helping people if I could talk correctly, increase their overall credit score to get the best possible interest rate, and I have a passion in securing your overall real estate dreams.
I think it's because you don't use cursive anymore.
Oh, that might be it.
Well, there you go. And if you have any questions on real estate or mortgages, please go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. You can look up Ian or my information there, or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And today we've got Jake Hemrick. You could think I could say Rick, right?
Yeah.
You could think I could say Rick. Can you kind of give people a little idea, who you are, where you came from?
Well, I wasn't told I needed to make an intro like that.
Oh, yeah, so, you got
so I can give it a shot and just wing it. My name is Jake Hemrick. I'm with Hemrick Property Group, and I'm out of the South Side. No, a little bit about me. So I'm a broker owner for Hemrick Property Group. Kind of our branding is Hemrick Real Estate. I'm from the South Side, from Franklin, Indiana. Our main office is down there. So I know the Southsiders are going to be a little bit upset with me when I say I'm from the South Side, because they say when I say I'm from the South Side, they're like, no, you're from that small farm town south of the South Side. So that's where I grew up, and that's where four of our agents are out of that office. I actually live in Brownsburg now. My business is kind of all around Indy, and went to college at DePaul University, and then so that's probably why I've gravitated toward the West Side. I'm kind of in between where my people are. A lot of my clients are from DePaul in Indy, and so I'm kind of in between there, between college people and hometown people. So,
what'd you study at DePaul?
Economics.
Okay.
Yep.
So you know what's going on right now.
Yeah, nope. I don't know if anyone knows what's going on.
Neither does the feds.
I could give them some advice, but it's
it falls on deaf ears.
Exactly. Yeah.
Although I think they're starting to catch on. I do think they're starting to catch on. So you did that. Now, how did you get into real estate? What was it? What was the process where you ended up in real estate?
Yeah. So I've been in real estate since I was about 2 years old. Is what I tell people. My dad was in real estate. He was in kind of like you, new home sales. He worked for built more homes, and then he started his own builders realty group where they kind of worked real estate directly with builders. And then he was a manager for Carpenter Realtors for, I think, maybe 12 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I went to college, I did what's called, when you go to a small private school, they have a winter term is what they call it. And so I was kind of entrepreneurial already. I had a lawn care company from high school through halfway through college. When I hit this time where I started thinking about what I want to do, wanted to do something entrepreneurial. So we had an option where you could create your own course. So I created a course, came up with a plan to get licensed in real estate. And then during the summers, I could then sell. So that winter course, got licensed, sold one home, which was kind of my goal. And then the subsequent summers, I sold real estate. Now, when I graduated college, I didn't want to do what my dad had always done, right? So I don't want to do what my parents do. So I went on to the mortgage side, did that for 3.5 years. And then I was generating a lot of my own clients. And so in being a young guy, it's hard to convince established agents to say, hey, let's use this young guy that's fresh out of school.
Right.
If they're doing business, they already have a lender that they're using. They at least have one that they know. So trying to convince someone to use you, you're getting all the hard loans. You're getting everything that people probably can't qualify at that time. So I was trying to generate my own leads, and I was generating way more leads for myself than I was getting from any other agent. And I thought, if I can switch over to real estate and capitalize on this, then that's probably the way to go. So then I swallowed my ego. I said, you know what? Turns out I'm going to do what my dad's always done, and I'm going to go sell real estate. So he had just left Carpenter and started his own brokerage, which he was done managing. He was a manager there, and he just wanted to sell houses. So he was doing that on his own. I came over and he's like, if you want to grow this thing, go for it. But I'm not managing anyone. And now he kind of is managing some people. So we convinced him to go back to that. But that's the story. That's my journey kind of through. Yeah. And my mom was in title too. So okay. I've had the title side, the mortgage side, and the real estate side.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's really important, that your dad is helping out, is managing now because he's got the experience.
Yeah.
And having that mentor, I'm sure even though he may not have been managing you, having a mentor to help guide you and somebody you can bounce things off of had to be very valuable for you.
Absolutely. It's been great since I've come over. Now, it wasn't so good when I was his lender and he would call me at like 9 p.m. and he'd be like, hey, is this person pre-approved? Or he'd call me at 6 a.m. and be like, hey, I need you to run this person's credit. I'm like, you realize it's 6 a.m., right? So it wasn't so great then. But now that I've switched over, having that mentor has been he's been great. It's a good balance because he's not going to get on video. He's not going to do the crazy, unique things. He's got his way to do it, and he's always done that. And at the same time, he has that experience. So when it comes to contractual things, and when it comes to certain situations that if you're in the business for 5, 6, 7 years, you can't hit all those situations. But if you've been in the business for almost 30 years, you've hit almost every single situation. Now, real estate, there's always new things. So he's even coming across new things, but he has a lot more experience than I could ever, I'm never going to catch up to him. So
Rick and I find it very interesting how many real estate agent parents are like, hey, you should do real estate to their kids. And then like years later, they're like, no. And then they're like, oh, maybe I should. Yeah. And they get back into it. So since your dad has all this knowledge, what is one good piece of advice he gave you when you first started?
Man, he's gonna be happy if he listens to this. I don't know if he knows what a podcast is or not, but
we'll send it to him.
He always harps on communication. Communication's key, and getting almost over communicating. People, this is their livelihood, and so it's easy for us as we have families, we have things we're doing to say, well, this is a house. I've sold 40 homes this year, and look at it through that lens. But to the client, this is the house they live in. This is their kid's house. This is their day to day. Like they have a showing. They've got to get out of the house. So if you're only communicating, one time a week, that's not enough for someone when that's the house that their family lives in. So over communicating everything, being open, being honest about things. He is honest, if I can tell you. I mean, he will tell you how it is, and that's just maybe that's his generation. But people will, if he just crosses someone kind of in passing, like, man, that guy's a little gruff, just because he's very honest about things, and so he's one of the nicest guys. So if you know him, everyone's like, he's so nice. But if you're just like in a deal with him, he's going to send you like 2-word texts, 1-word text, and you're like, man, this guy's mad at me. So, but he's very honest, and all of his clients, if I talk to him, they're like, he just tells me exactly how it is, and I love that. He's not beating around the bush, straight to the point, knows what he's doing. So, that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned from him, and that he's taught me, is that have that hard conversation. Don't send it in a text. Call them. Be honest with them. Don't hope you get the voicemail. Don't even leave the voicemail. Call them until they answer, and then have that hard conversation with them. So I would say that's probably the number one lesson.
Yeah, well, he's right.
Yeah.
He's 100% right.
I think so.
Yeah. It does amaze me when people don't want to, because they don't want to have the conversation, so they want to text it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's if we have an issue, we call.
Yeah.
And you have to talk to them.
Yep.
The only time I'd leave a voicemail is if you get somebody that you can never talk to.
Sure.
And even then, it's like, hey, give me a call. We got to talk about something.
Yep.
It's you don't want to give bad news on. And usually, when you're going to give bad news, how do you try to find a solution before we can't do this, but we can do this? Or
I think every situation is different. I like to tell, as soon as I get bad news, I like to pass that on to my clients. And I know everyone has a different philosophy about it, but if I get a situation, I'll think about it. I'm going to think it through, and I'm going to have the options and try to come up with that solution. But I'm not going to go and knock on a bunch of doors and try to figure all this stuff out. And then someone else somehow tells my client something, or they find out through some other means, and I haven't told them, and a couple of days have gone by and I'm still trying to find a solution. I want them to at least know, just because I don't want them to think I'm hiding anything from them. So I like to be as open and honest right away as possible. Obviously, if I think there's a quick solution, I'm going to go do that so I can provide that to them. But yeah, I like to get ahead of it and talk to them right away. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to go back a little bit. So
Yep.
when you got going into real estate, it's not the easiest business to get going in.
Yeah.
Many people struggle when they get in. In fact, 80%, 90% drop out in the first 5 years or something.
Yeah.
It's huge. How did you do? What did you do? How did you get moving? How did you get your business up and going to make yourself where you are today, a guru in the real estate industry, doing phenomenally well?
Whew. That's a big title.
It's a big question.
I think I had a little bit easier, I would say, transition because I was already doing a lot of video in the real estate space. But what I did when I first, and I always say, and it's not my saying, it's very common, is the harder you work, the luckier you get. So getting out there, and it can look at a lot of different ways for a lot of different people starting out, but talking person to person, and what I mean by that is you can door knock, you can call, you can send out postcards, you can send out letters, you can DM people. What I did was try to let as many people know as possible that I've now switched and now I'm on the real estate side. A lot of people knew I was in the space, so I can still catch some people if they didn't know. They think maybe I'm a mortgage guy and a hardworking mortgage guy, and they would call me for that. And then I would say, actually, I'm on the real estate side. So what I did was just try to tell as many people as possible that I'm in the business. That was first and foremost. And then I doubled down on the video. And I think the connection, people want you to succeed. Your friends want you to succeed. Your family wants you to succeed. So they're going to do everything they can. I think where people go wrong is they start doing things, they start marketing, and they think that it's just going to come. Like no one is just going to drop everything and sell their house just because you got into the business.
Right.
So I think where people go wrong is they give up too soon, because every time that you find someone that would be your client, that's a success. So you go out and you talk to 300 people and 50 of them say, this guy's going to be my agent. Well, none of those 50 are going to sell their house now, right?
Right.
They're now your client. So that's a success. And I think new agents don't see that as a success. They only see a success as, hey, I'm buying now, or I want to sell now, instead of saying every single person that tells me I will call you when it's time to sell, every time you can do that, that's a success. And so if you look at it that way, it may take 6 months to get your first deal. 6 months of that is a long time, just talking and talking and talking. The more people you talk to, the closer you get to that yes. But I think if people looked at it in that way, this is a long-term business. You're going to do this for a long time. Once you get in it, you're most likely not getting out of it once you have some success. So I think that starting out in the business, to answer your question, the most important thing is to talk to as many people as you can and convert as many people as you can to your client, long-term client, not necessarily short-term client. They're not going to say,
right,
I'm ready to sell now. But the more people you talk to, the closer you get to someone that says,
right,
I'm ready to sell now.
Right.
So,
all right. So I want you to be successful. So if somebody's out there looking to buy, sell, or just wants to talk real estate with you and want to become in that 300 and you could knock down your 500 or your 50 to be your client,
yeah.
how would they get in touch with you?
I would say, obviously the easiest way is to call or text me. My number is 317-412-5310, or I can say it like you guys, 317-412-5310. Caller number 10 gets a free house.
Wow, that's a good deal. He doesn't answer the 10th call, I bet you.
Yeah, I'll answer the first 9. We can sell your house. And then you can reach out to me on social media. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook, at Jake Hemrick, on YouTube. and TikTok, Jake Hemrick Real Estate, all kind of different ways you can find me. You just search me in a social media and you can find me and DM me.
Yeah, it's not really hard. You put your name in, and you put your name and put realtor, and it pops up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I did it.
My name's not John Smith, so I'm a little bit easier to find. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty easy. And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you give us a call at 317-658. No, that's my number. 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. Ian will be mad at me if I just give you my number.
Hey, you were just too busy calling his, trying to be the 10th caller. So
I was. I know. And thanks for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. Well, we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage. Real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. They listen, and they find unrealized opportunities. If you're buying or selling a home, a real estate guru is a valuable asset. If you're even thinking of buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's real estate gurus.
All right, Jake. Let's get to know you a little bit better. So I got to take away your phone for 24 hours.
Yep.
After you get done having a heart attack.
Thank God.
What do we catch you doing for fun?
So I had a baby just over a year ago. He just turned 1.
Congratulations.
Last weekend. Thank you.
Awesome.
Absolutely incredible. Turned my life upside down in all the best ways. I try to spend as much time there. I have 2 jobs. One is selling homes. But that's part of my first job. My first job is being a husband and a father, and part of that's providing. So that's my first job. I'm there. And so if you take my phone away from 24 hours, a year ago, I would have had a heart attack. Now I'm like, that's fine. I have way more fun at home. So I'm at home, and I don't apologize for it at all. If I miss someone's call and I'm with him, that's okay. I'll get to him. So I'm spending time with them every once in a while. I do practice jiu-jitsu, so I'll do that in the mornings a couple days a week, and then I hunt sometimes 2 weekends a year, but that's if I'm lucky. So I'll do opening day hunting, and that's about it for that typically. So
are you hunting deer or what?
Deer,
okay.
yeah.
What do you use? Do you use the bow or rifle?
Both. Yeah, I try to. I ideally I'll go bow early in the year, and October 1st is when it starts. Or if you have some specific region that's doing some sort of hunt, sometimes a little earlier, mid-September, and then gun season is November. So I go out to some property on the Wabash River and do that. So it's but mainly I'm at home. I'm spending time with the baby, and I love it. So
changes your life, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It's great. So I always tell people, I think there are a lot of little things you realize that seem obvious, but once you have a kid, it's like that's obvious, but you look at it a little deeper. And one thing is your perception of time completely changes. So when you're going through your life, you're always looking forward to that next thing. Like, I'm looking forward to going to college. I'm looking forward to joining a fraternity. I'm looking forward to graduating college, then my first apartment, then a girlfriend, then a fiance, then a wedding. And so all these things, you're like looking forward to the next thing. Then you have a child, and you're like, that ceases. That no longer do you look forward to anything. You want time to stop. You're like, can I stop time or reverse time? That's all you want. And so you don't look forward to them walking. You don't look forward to them graduating high school. That's for sure. So your whole perception of time changes, and then how you see it, time passing. Like, I think when you don't have a kid, you're looking at you don't see yourself maturing so much. You feel the same always, and all your friends and your family are kind of growing and maturing at the same age slowly, so you don't see that. But when you have a baby, they're growing like at supersonic levels, right? So the beginning of the year, they're this big, and then at the end of the year, they're this big, and you're like, holy smokes, time just flew by. So your whole perception of the world just absolutely changes, and you start seeing like the dad that's really successful in their business and really successful father is like an absolute superhero, because it's so hard to turn on and turn off, and you're balancing all these schedules, and you just see them before you have kids. It's just like, that's just a normal person going through everyday life. But no, it's not. They're juggling a lot of things. So whole life changes.
So you're not truly a real estate father until you use the kid to help sell real estate.
Oh yeah. Well, he's got to earn his keep. So.
He loves him, but he got to learn his keep.
Yeah, exactly. You got to take advantage of what you got. So he's cute. So we can use him to sell some houses.
That's right.
Just be like, you know how much formula costs? You know how much diapers are?
Yeah. We need to sell one house to pay for all that. So we're going to put you out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when mine were little, and my first one, and I kept thinking, when we get them out of diapers, it's really going to get a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
It never gets cheaper.
I'm sure it doesn't.
It just gets more expensive.
Uh-huh.
But let's go back to real estate a little better. My favorite question. Mm-hmm. What would you say your superpower or superpowers are?
I don't think I have superpowers. I think that maybe the thing that I would attribute to the thing that I would attribute to my success would probably be just the ability to see something through. So a lot of, and we talked about that before, was giving up on something and or why people maybe don't succeed or why people maybe fail. I think it's that ability to say, I'm going to give this thing enough time, because you don't fail until you quit. So working on something and improving it, and then maybe pivoting. So I guess it would be an insatiable hunger for self-development and for consistency and commitment. I think you're going to find success if you stick something out long enough. You just have to be able to stick it out long enough. So I guess my superpower would be a hunger for personal growth and for success and being able to stick that out.
It is amazing how accurate that is.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay in it, I had a loan officer years ago who, he didn't do great, but he was doing okay,
Yeah.
but he stuck with it, and he ended up doing phenomenally well.
Yeah.
Because he stuck with it. Because over time, you just get momentum.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to do the right things. It's not like you can just go sit down, wait all day, go home, and not do anything. You still have to work.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I picked up from what you said earlier on how you got going, the basics was you worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That is a superpower in today's world, in a lot of people's view.
That's very
so
true.
you worked. So you work and you stick with it, then you get success.
Yeah.
You don't work and you stick with it, you don't get success.
Yeah. And the thing is, so you can go 1 mile a minute and go talk to 2,000 people today. You'll probably find a deal. That's one way to do it. Or like we were saying, stick with it. Go talk to 20 people every day for a long time, and you're going to have the long-term success too. So however it works for you, I think that's a great point though. People don't want to work, or maybe they just haven't been taught how to work. Everything's at our fingertips. We can literally have anything that we want. Go get a credit card and buy whatever you want. I mean, there's just a lot of different things that are just right there for us. Maybe we're a little spoiled that way. And so I agree. I think if you really put in the work and do that consistently, then you're going to have success no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do to constantly stay in front of somebody?
I think we have an incredible opportunity with social media and with the ability for the everyday business to be able to market like a large corporation. Like we have the analytics right in front of us to say we can take this one video and we can get it in front of 20,000 people. So that's kind of what we've been pushing toward is being. I think it's a so this may answer a different question too, but I think there's a two-prong approach in terms of getting in front of people. I think you have to, and staying top of mind, you've got to do that marketing, that social media in today's world, but then relate that to real life as well. So like you can be on your phone, everyone's on their phone, and you can see someone on your phone. You can see, the Kardashians on your phone, but that doesn't mean that you would ever call them for anything in real life. So I think as agents, we have to look at that and say, this person's on my phone. What will make me call them is then correlating that to real life. So I want to be in front of people all the time when they have that phone in front of their face, but then I want to pick one or two ways in real life to get in front of them. and then merge the two. So I want to send out, whether that's postcards to neighborhoods and geofarm, whether that's door knocking, whether it's open houses, whether it's directional signs, be strategic about where they're seeing your name, and then be in front of them in mass on social media, with Google ads, with YouTube ads, with all those things. And then you can, once you get those two, people will see you, see your sign, they'll be like, I know that guy. I actually know that guy. And they start to like see you as like, you'll see people, I saw an ad of you, and it's weird. It feels like they feel like they know someone famous, and you're not famous. You're just a normal person. And then you can start transitioning that video to be the local level too. So you can then position yourself with a business or with a restaurant or with a park or something in their area, and then market that to that area. And so now they see you in the place that they always go, and now they feel like they know you. So that's kind of, I didn't even remember what the question was, but.
No, that was an accurate answer though.
Okay.
And it's amazing to me. I always felt the same way, because I'd have people come in who had heard me, had listened to me on the radio over and over again.
Yep.
And they came in and saw me as somebody they knew.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of odd because you don't know them.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and so they're at a different place than you are, and you have to catch up pretty quickly. You probably run into that.
Yeah. Not a ton, because we're just kind of starting, but it has happened. So it's an interesting thing. So you can think of like, this is like on a grain of sand on a beach level. But how famous people would feel like constantly, everyone knows them. That I think that would be so bizarre. Yeah. So I think, staying in front of people was the question, right? I think agents have to utilize that social media as much as possible. And we have a huge opportunity here.
Yeah. I think it's even bigger for the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't mean anything bad towards this for Rick, but as the older generation that did not use social media, they start getting older and they're not buying homes and stuff as much, and they're dying off. But the
He's just mean.
Firing shots.
He's just mean. Yeah.
But the younger generation, I mean, I even saw this like before I got here, I was in car sales, is I talked to them and all they're doing is staring at their phone.
Yeah.
So just like you said, you got to be in front of them. Well, if you're going to be on the phone, I got to figure out a way to be in front of you there.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. And so it reminds me of the answer to kind of your question you've already asked. Something my dad taught me. And it's kind of along the same lines as my previous answer, but that reminded me, in front of your phone, you have to, in person. And when I was in the mortgage industry, he would say this to me. Now it just came into my head. He would say it all the time. You have to ask for the sale. Ask for the sale. Ask for the sale. And I was fresh out of college, and I, like, well, I don't want to be too upfront, but you have to. You've got to, in person, ask them. If you never ask them, then they're never gonna give it to you.
Right.
So the same thing with a new agent starting up. Ask your people. They want to help you, like your family and friends. They want you to succeed. Very rarely you're going to find someone that doesn't want you to succeed, and you don't want to work with that person anyway. Right. So ask them for the sale and you'll get it. So just DM people and call people and text people, and don't feel bad about it, because they're not going to just come to you and save the day and say, oh yeah, I heard that through the grapevine that you got into real estate 2 days ago. This just doesn't happen. So you got to do that and ask for the sale. So
okay. So ask for the sale. We need your number out there.
My phone number?
Yep. Let's go.
317-412-5310. That's 317-412-5310.
And how do they find you online?
You can look up hemrickre.com is our website, HEMRICKRE.com, or find me on social media at Jake Hemrick.
Perfect. And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. Got it this time. 317-672-1938.
All right. And now we'll get into the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, hey, Rick and I, the Hardworking Mortgage Guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates through the loan process. We don't like for you to live in a black hole, so we don't allow it. We send you probably more updates than you want, but you'll be thankful for it. All right. So here's the hard question for you.
Uh-oh.
What was your first car?
My first car was a 2002 Jeep Wrangler.
Ah, perfect.
Yep, that was in high school. The first car I bought for myself was a 2016 Honda Accord. I'm still in a Honda Accord, but I've gone to different years throughout I love it. So like we were saying, I drive loops. Like it's in honor of the Indy 500. I'm just constantly doing loops around 465. So sometimes I do a right turn, sometimes I do a left turn, depending on where I'm going. But yeah.
So what you're saying is realtors put a lot of miles on their cars.
Correct. Lots of miles.
No, what he's saying is guru realtors put a lot of miles on their cars.
Well, if I was really smart, maybe I'd have a helicopter or something.
Yeah, well, yeah. That would be something.
That would be.
Wouldn't
That'd
it
be
be
great.
kind of hard to show a house though in a helicopter? You couldn't land.
This is true.
That might be a problem. Yeah.
I do not know, but that'd be you would have a lot of people just to buy a house for you, just to ride in a helicopter. You might have to walk a half mile to the house.
I think we're onto something.
Yeah. Of course, there might be some people who wouldn't get in the helicopter with them.
Yeah, that's true.
I know my wife, she'd be scared to death.
Well, in 16 years, his kid can then drive them to the house while he
There you
takes the
go.
helicopter.
Yeah, just take a little while. Just take a little while. So in the social media, when somebody's looking at doing that, obviously you got to stay in front of people, and that's how you do it. Is there a what you would consider a better platform than another, or is there any advice you would give a real estate agent, a newer agent, on what one that might be best for them, or how they would pick what they should be doing?
Yeah, I think with any marketing, it's about what you can be consistent with. So I think start with what's easy, and if that's just getting on a live video at a listing, do that. Start with something that you can do every week or every day or whatever you set for yourself. I try to be on all of them. Maybe the one that you're on the most, get on that because you're familiar with the content. So if you're on TikTok all the time, make TikTok videos. If you're on Instagram or if you're on Facebook all the time, make Facebook videos, but make it according to that platform and what's going to work on that. Because ultimately we want something that's going to work. We don't just want to spend all this time making content on things that people aren't going to watch.
Right.
And that aren't going to generate sales or generate leads or some sort of communication between yours. So have a goal. First, decide which platform, decide the kind of content, and then create the goal that you want from that content, and go about that. So if you just want notoriety, you just want people in your sphere to know what you're doing, then you don't need to have a million calls to action. You just need to maybe show some properties and put out there kind of what you're doing, and maybe a vlog or something. So just really depends on what your goal is. My goal has changed from the time that I started to where we are now. It started off as just live videos where I would get on there and I'd have 5 things that I was going to talk about, 5 tips. And then I would have people would comment, ask questions while I was on there. Sometimes I had plants that were asking me questions, but
that's okay.
Now I'm throwing myself under the bus, but that's where we started. And then we went to tip videos, then we went to tour videos, and went to stories where we were just doing a ton of stories and polls and that sort of thing. Now we do a mix of those, but really leaning heavy toward with our team creating content for them, so that they can generate leads as well. So, and duplicating all of our content. So we can take the content that we've done and make that into different forms on the different platforms for those agents.
Okay. So I'm going to ask this because you've done this for a little while, but when, for new people that are thinking about doing this for any industry that they're in. So how hard was it for you to put yourself in front of that camera?
My
Record
first video is terrible. I have it, and every once in a while I'll go back to it and look at it. It is awful. It was I would prepare for like 5 hours. It was a live video, so I probably started with the hardest format. I was trying to make it perfect, and it was live. So I would like have my script written out. I'd practice it and practice it and practice it, and finally hit record. It was really hard, and I think that people have to make bad content first. It's just you just have to accept the fact it's going to be bad, and then you just get better. As long as you're incrementally getting better and trying to improve it, then ultimately it's going to end up okay. So,
yep. I fully agree with you. It's just about doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put all the steps in process, but until you decide to hit record and go, it means nothing.
It's so hard for people too, especially people that, like, for example, my dad's been in the business. He's a professional. Now he's going to take a step way back and be an amateur at something. I think that's hard for a lot of people to do. And so they don't want to come across as not knowing something when they've been in the business for so long. So, but sometimes you got to swallow the pride and just do it and say, I'm going to be bad at video. Or when I started jiu-jitsu, I'm going to be bad at jiu-jitsu. I'm going to be bad at hunting. All those things I didn't grow up doing. I just learned them. So that's another piece of it. Just be bad at something and then get better at it. So.
Yep. And I think another thing, and may not be what people want to hear, but the reality is that first video you do, nobody's going to watch it anyway. So it doesn't matter. Just do it.
Yeah, you're going to have 10 views. One of them's your mom, and then the rest of them are you.
Yeah. It's so funny how much effort and time we put into that, when the reality is it isn't that you put a video on and 1,000 people want to see it.
Yeah, no, it's not that way.
It doesn't work that way. You build up. It takes time.
Yep.
And so don't worry about it because nobody's going to see it.
Yeah. And if they do see it, they're most likely going to skip over it after 10 seconds. So the part that you messed up, like 1 minute into the video, they didn't watch anyway. So it's fine. Yeah, I agree. That's great advice.
It's about the lessons I try to teach my kids is just because something happens to you, you might remember it forever.
Yeah.
Nobody else remembered
no one
you
cares.
doing it.
Yeah.
When you trip and fell, and guess what? You think it's a huge embarrassment.
Yeah.
Nobody even can think of that. Oh, remember when I fell? No, you fell.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. We're very egocentric, I think, a lot of times in that, and people don't. And that's part of learning the social media game too. Is saying people don't actually care what you're doing. So you don't just get on there and be like, this is what I'm doing every single day, until you give them a reason to care about. And it's that old saying, like, no one cares what you think until they know how much you care. But in the content way, I think it's about the value. So are you providing value? Are you giving them something they want to watch? And until that point, they're not going to watch it. So don't worry about it. Get good at video while you're giving a bunch of stuff that no one really wants to watch.
Right.
And then once you get good at it, you can start really strategically deciding what kind of content you're putting out.
Yep. And no matter how scared you are to do it, once you start doing it, it gets easier and easier and easier.
Yep.
And I think the other thing I would tell people is, and you both have said it, just start.
Yeah.
Don't put it off. Just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. It isn't going to be perfect. Just start and get going. You worked hard at it, and you still did it because you understood that you had to get started. But you learned then it doesn't have to be. In fact, I think people don't want it perfect.
No.
I think the viewers don't want it perfect.
Yeah. And that's part of, I think, deciding which platform you go with and what style of video you're doing. And there are certain styles that people want perfect, right? They want that like crisp tour video to be perfect. And that's okay, because you're not going to do a crisp tour video right away anyway. But if you're doing a live video or a story or something, no one wants it to be. You're right. No one wants it to be perfect.
And they're very used to it not being.
Yeah. And for my followers, they're used to me sounding like an idiot anyway. So if I sound
part
like
of
an
your
idiot,
charm.
that's fine. Yeah. I don't know if we call it charm, but yeah.
So how does your team look? I know you got your dad that bosses you around, which I can't blame him. I'm gonna boss my kid around until the day I can't.
Yep. We have a total of 10 agents, 6 of which are active full-time. We'll say high producing. The other are either referral or part-time. And so, we have the office down in Franklin that most of the agents are in. And then on the west side, we're looking for an office now to expand that west side office. We operate, if you walked into our office, we operate as a team. But if you look structurally, we're a small brokerage. So everyone's their own CEO, right? And they're running their business the way they want to run it. But when it comes to meetings and helping each other, and someone's on vacation, everyone's stepping in. And that's why we're trying to grow at a rate that we can continue with that culture of what seems like a team and what seems like non-competitive with each other. So if I have a great idea, I'm sharing it with everyone. If one of our other agents has a great idea, they're sharing it with everyone. And we're not worried about that. We're not worried about someone calling in and saying, hey, I want to buy a house with Javier. Is Javier in? No. And then they say, actually, no, he's not in. I'll help you though. They're going to say, no, Javier's number is XYZ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, call him. So that's the environment we want on our team. But we also want to help everyone grow their own business to be a rock star, right? So it's not these are 3 buyers agents for these other agents that are higher producing. We want everyone to be a rock star. And that's why we're working so much on the social media and getting those, not everyone has to do social media if they don't want to, but if they want to build their business and they want to do that and take advantage of that, that's why we do it the way we do it. That's kind of why I've focused so much of my business on that, so that I can help those agents build their social following.
Yeah, but you didn't help Javier right there. Javier needed his phone number right there, and you made up a number.
317-627-24 or
That's why he didn't give the number.
3468, I think. But you can look it up. I think that's his number.
Yeah, go online. And where do they go online? What's the website?
Hemrickre.com.
Hemrick,
HEMRICKRE.com.
That's the easiest way.
Yeah. Javier's a rock star. He'll take care of you.
All right. So I want to hear a story. So what do you think your most memorable deal was?
Probably my first deal is my most memorable deal. It's when I was in college. So I was living off of ramen noodles. and you get your first paycheck and it's like you feel absolutely rich. So I had that special experience where I was living like a college kid, and I closed on my first real estate transaction, and I felt on top of the world. So that's probably my most memorable one.
Yeah. Your first one, I would say, is usually one of the better ones, just because, one, you get that nice paycheck and you feel rewarded for that work. So, because like you said, could take up to 6 months for you to get your first deal.
Absolutely.
So at that point in time, you're like, yes, finally. But then things start rolling.
Yeah.
But I did like that earlier. You did state that, look, this is, even with our business, it's a time business.
Sure.
And this isn't McDonald's.
Yeah.
Think of this as St. Elmo's or something like that. You order your steak, guess what? It's going to be a little bit, but it's going to be good. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's worth that wait. It's worth holding off. And the good thing is, once people do start doing transactions, they start, we're paid well in this business. It's not, you're not making $100 to close a deal. So you don't need to close 500 deals a year right off the bat. And expectations being set at the right level, I think, is very important. So what would you say some of the misconceptions that people have of what a real estate agent does? And, I guess that's it. Just what do they do? What is the misconceptions? Maybe from a customer point of view, but also then maybe from somebody looking to get into real estate. Yeah. I think one of the misconceptions for someone getting into real estate is that, like we said, they think that right away you're going to get business, and no one's going to just give you business right away. That's probably one of the main misconceptions for a new agent. I think we in the industry, especially in the last 3 years, with so many people flooding into the industry because it was easy, because money was cheap, deals were easy to find. We have some misconceptions on what an agent is. Obviously it looks a lot of different ways, but a good agent, I think, is highly professional, runs it as a business. You can do it part-time and still run it as a business, but spends a lot of time, is very educated in the space, and it is committed to it long-term. I think one of the misconceptions is that we're just after a paycheck, and we're selling it like you would sell like a multi-level marketing scheme or something, like it's just something that we picked up yesterday and now we're just doing it. So for some people it is that way, but I think for your professional agents it's not. And so, find an agent that is professional that way, and you'll see the difference. If you've ever worked with someone that's not as professional to someone that is more professional, it's night and day. It's not even the same industry. So yeah. All right. So I want people to work with you because you're a very professional person. Thank you. What's the best way they can contact you?
You can call me 317-412-5310. You can send me an email, jake@Hemrick, Hemrick, propertygroup.com, or find me on social media at Jake Hemrick.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. You can look at our information up there, or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
And a reminder, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or refinance, let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you. All right, Jake, thank you for joining us on our show today. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
And I think it was great. I think the one thing or one of the things people should take away is work hard.
Yeah.
You got to work hard.
Yeah. Like those hardworking mortgage guys.
Yeah. You got to work hard.
Yeah.
You can tell working hard resonates with me, right?
You're working hard, and hard work pays off as long as you stick it out for as long as it takes to be successful.
Right.
So
now we just need his dad to come in and then rat him out on all the bad stuff he does.
Oh yeah. No. We're not gonna hand out his phone number to anyone.
And follow us for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Ripma's NMLS number 664589. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.